the real enemy of America. These terrorist attacks in America and Russia share another common feature. Muslims were presented as the perpetrators of these tragedies, leading to intense Islamophobia, not only within these countries but worldwide. For many years, a deliberate image of the Muslim as a terrorist has been created in your minds. You've been led to believe that a Muslim is an uncivilized, uncultured, aggressive, and dangerous person to be feared. To reinforce this image in your consciousness, regular information terror attacks are carried out. For instance, if a Muslim commits any offense, it is immediately broadcast nationwide, even though identical crimes are regularly committed by non-Muslims. However, when it comes to Muslims, the media accompanies such news with additional commentary and reflections on the impossibility of living with Muslims in the same country. I'm sure you have noticed how, in many countries, mass media consistently highlight the differences between Muslims and the civilized world. You may often hear continuous narratives suggesting that peaceful coexistence with them is difficult due to supposedly different values, cultural and religious differences. Think about how often you hear opinions that your country would be better off without Muslims, that you, the local residents, have given them opportunities, while they behave ungratefully. Have you ever wondered why this is happening? Why is such similar rhetoric against Muslims conducted in different countries? All of this is a multi-year information terror attack conducted by global anti-cultism. As a result, relations between large Muslim diasporas and the local population in different countries are becoming increasingly strained. It's like a spring that is constantly being compressed. Let's consider where this might lead. In order to do this, you need to look at the situation in the world, taking into account the knowledge you already have. You know that global anti-cultism aims to establish a unified Fourth Reich. To achieve this, it continually destabilizes democratic countries, eroding laws and people's rights. As you may recall, the next target of the enemy is the division of the United States of America through civil war and the division of Europe. So, let's just assume that the enemy has succeeded in their plans, resulting in a divided United States and a disintegrating Europe. What do you think will happen next? Do you believe Muslims, incited by anti-cultism, will be able to resist the temptation to attack weakened European countries, the same countries that forced them to flee their homelands, the same countries where they've been oppressed for so many years? The question is rhetorical. Now consider this. As soon as the first attack by Muslims occurs, this conflict will immediately escalate beyond the borders of a single country or even a continent. The entire non-Muslim world will instantly come to defend Europe. If war breaks out, it will be a war of the whole world against Muslims. Do you think the parties involved will refrain from using nuclear weapons? And what do you think will be the outcome? I'll give you a hint. Considering the military, technological, and numerical superiority of the non-Muslim world, almost 2 billion Muslims would be wiped off the face of the earth. Let's consider why this might be beneficial for global anti-cultism. First, it would be a convenient way for them to seize vast territories rich in natural resources. Secondly, it would be an ideal opportunity to permanently eliminate a large group of freedom-loving people whom global anti-cultism has failed to break from within and bring under its control. Islam as a religion is particularly difficult for anti-cultism to control because Muslims form a society within a society. They have adhered strictly to the Quran for many years and follow their established traditions. Therefore, it's very hard for anti-cultism to control Islam because Muslims manage to avoid the global introduction of anti-cultism agents into their religion. Consequently, representatives of anti-cultism strive to demonize Muslims to eventually eliminate them, despite the fact that in many countries, Muslims live peacefully and harmoniously with other religions. Representatives of anti-cultism highlight isolated incidents, trying to convince you that all Muslims are subhuman. Anti-cultists instill this belief in you so that, when the time comes, they would be able to destroy the entire Islamic world with your hands. Could this be the very civilizational war we have heard about many times before?
But if the question, when will all this end, is asked of me as a priest, then my answer is never. Once Ukrainian Nazism is dealt with, another aggressor country will emerge through which the USA will begin to threaten Russia. So the civilizational war is inevitable.
Such a move would allow anti-cultism to achieve a state of managed chaos, so excruciating for humanity that people would be willing to accept even the harshest order and would ask for it themselves. Humanity would willingly request to live under the Fourth Reich. The biggest problem is that you do not see the looming threat of global anti-cultism hanging over you. You do not notice how global anti-cultism, this machine of violence and murder, which knows no pity, is relentlessly moving toward its goal, the destruction of America and the free world, and it only gains power along its way. Feeding on people's fear and deaths, we see that it has already broken not only Putin in Russia, but also Macron in France and Scholz in Germany. These countries, entangled in the tentacles of anti-cultism, can no longer call themselves democratic. France and Germany are considered the foundation of Europe, and if America's enemy is not stopped, it will soon consume the rest of European countries as well. And if Europe falls, and the enemy strips people of their rights and establishes totalitarianism there, just as it did in Russia, how long can America, the last bastion of democracy in the world, hold out, alone against everyone? The question is rhetorical, given the hatred and speed with which the main enemy of America is advancing towards its goal. Before your eyes, the enemy of the entire free world is committing terror attacks and stripping you of your freedoms. It is killing democracy, one of humanity's most valuable achievements, won through immense effort and courage. Many honorable people gave their lives so that you could finally live in freedom and equality. And now, those terrorists, those Nazis, are mercilessly destroying everything with impunity, your freedom, your rights, and most importantly, the future of your children, simply because they wish to do so. They are doing everything they can to turn your so far free world into the bloody dominance of the Fourth Reich.